So we're living in a time where people's concerns are completely fragmented. And so there's all this mental derangement because people are so distracted. Now Imam Ali radiallahu anhu said, and it's often attributed to the Prophet ﷺ, and it very well may be marfu' because it is often said with qala Rasulullah, الناس نيام فإذا ماتوا انتبهوا. He didn't say استيقظوا. If they die, they wake up. No, they come to attention. Intibah is nabih, is somebody who's smart, intelligent, because he's focused. He's giving his attention to what's important. And so intibah is what happens when people die. The Prophet ﷺ said, in one iteration, mutu qabla an tamutu, die before you die. In other words, come to attention before you're brought to attention. And in Sahih Muslim, it's "Uddu anfusakum min ashab al-qubur." Consider yourselves already dead. It has the same meaning. In other words, wake up now. And this is what mindfulness is really about. It's dhikr. It's coming to, one of the words for attention in Arabic is also yaqadha. It's to be awake and aware. You're attentive, you're aware. Your mind is present. So already by the 1880s, Nietzsche noted, one thinks with one's watch in one's hand, he complained. Even as one eats one's midday meal while reading the latest news of the stock market. This is distraction. Everything is done with the clock. One of the most interesting things about time, and one of my favorite writers, Lewis Mumford, said that when the modern mindset came to dominate, this is what he wrote: eternity ceased gradually to serve as the measure and focus of human actions. In its place came the dictatorship of the clock. I mean, isn't that interesting? People used to think about eternity. Their lives were actually determined by their understanding of eternity. And one of the most common things about pre-modern peoples is they mention death a lot. And one of the most notable qualities of modern people and postmodern people is they never talk about death. Why did the pre-modern people talk about death? When I was in the throne room of the former Queen Elizabeth, now the throne room of King Charles, I was taken there by Baroness Uddin. She's a Muslim in the House of Lords. So they took me into the throne room. I was getting a tour of the Parliament. And so they have this throne room. And there was this massive clock given by the French king to the British monarch that had the Grim Reaper on top of it. That's what the clock had. It had the Grim Reaper. In other words, the angel of death was on top of it with his scythe that takes the souls. In all of, if you look, and Dr. Yusuf knows this because he's been working with sundials, in all of the pre-modern sundials, it will say things like carpe diem, many Latin phrases, things like, in one of these hours you will be seized. People saw time as a reminder of their finitude, as the reminder that they were finite beings in temporality. Modern people think they're going to live forever. They don't think about death. And one of the main reasons for this desire for distractibility is because it preoccupies people from thinking about what is inevitable, that they will die. The Prophet ﷺ said, أَكْثَرُ مِنْ ذِكْرِ هَذَمَ اللَّذَّاتِ. Do much remembrance of the destroyer of delights, death. Not in a morbid sense. This is being unto death. This is embracing our mortality, being aware of it. Marabat al-Hajj every night did death meditation. He would recite poems about death. Shaykh ibn al-Habib in his diwan, tazawwudu akhi. Be prepared for death. فَإِنَّهُ نَازِلٌ, it's coming. And they used to sing this on a regular basis to think about death. The Prophet ﷺ was completely aware of the presence of death. The Quran, death permeates the Quran. There's not a page that doesn't have the perfume of death scented on it in the Quran. And this is not morbidity. This is not some kind of morbidness. It's not morbidness. It's actually to make you aware of the preciousness of the time that you have been given. This is the preciousness of life itself. It's a great gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we waste it away with all of this insignificant concern.